There we go. Good morning. Happy Friday. Today is the 10th day of June, my birthday month, and this is the 25th episode of season 4 of the Be Your Own Hero show. Hero is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, helping others helps you. It's a reciprocal action. I'm your host. I'm Sekouwrites. I'm a professional creative, which means I do a lot of different things. I'm an author and a speaker, for example. I'm also the creator of the Hero Ministry Movement, which is my effort to uplift and inspire people in general and the unhoused community in specific. Join me here Monday through Friday, 8:45 a.m. Central Time, and you can do the math for your local time zone. Shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me the space and opportunity to be here and talk about my journey of being my own hero. Also, I was just in Colorado. It was just a layover, but I had a layover in Colorado. So nearby shout out to New Thought Media Network. They're based in Colorado. And wait, what was I saying? Oh, and so quick disclaimer, I'm not a personal trainer, nor am I a financial advisor. So do your own due diligence. All right. If this show provides any value, please like, please comment, and please share. Okay. So let's get into it. I've got some notes for myself. I've got a really big, all caps, underlined note, Amazon. So we're going to get to Amazon very quickly. I'm going to share my run report for today because I usually challenge myself to get the run report done in 60 seconds. So I am guaranteed to be very concise on the run report. So let me just play the run report, and then that'll give me some extra time to talk on the show. All right, so this is this morning's run report. Shout out to Black Men Run. For those of you that missed that chapter of the story, I did not know anything about Black Men Run. I just saw them pop up on my Facebook feed after I started running. And I was like, well, I'm a black man and I'm running, so maybe I should see what's up with them. And I just showed up one day and ran with them, and the rest, as they say, is history. Here is today's run report.
Run streak day 375. I've been running every day, at least a mile a day for now 375 consecutive days in a row. I am on the Sekou Hero Charity Run. So far, I've raised over $7,000 for 10 different charities, and we are on to charity number 11. This is my anniversary month. I started doing this on June 1st of last year. So I've been doing it for a little over a year now. And in homage to that, I'm raising $3,650, get it, 365, for Back on My Feet. That's a nonprofit based in Philly, and they work with the unhoused community and teach them how to run and how to improve their lives. Very excited about it. The link is in the bio. We are at 8% funded so far. 8% funded. The link is HeroCharityRun.com. HeroCharityRun.com. I'll see you there. Be your own hero. Let's do this.
Okay. There we go.
Day 375.
Sorry. There we go. So shout out to the anniversary month. I like that phrasing. I mean, it's true. I just hadn't phrased it that way. So this is the anniversary month on a couple of different levels. So shout out to the anniversary month for the charity run. Fireworks for that. Also, I just realized this morning that this is also the anniversary month for the Be Your Own Hero show. Literally yesterday, June 9th, 2021 was the first episode of the Be Your Own Hero show. That's before it really had a name, and it was only about hero hoodies, and I watched a little snippet of it this morning, but it has been a year, almost to the day. Yesterday was the day. So this is a big anniversary month, 2 anniversaries we're celebrating all of this month. Well, 3 really. My birthday, number 1. The Hero Charity Run, number 2. And this show, number 3. What? All right, so I got to figure some big ways to celebrate the anniversary month aside from these fireworks. One more time. There we go. There's my fireworks. Yeah, so I have to figure out some big ways to celebrate. I know Rev Mel had people pop on the show to talk about the show's impact. So that's a possibility. Anyway, I have to figure out some ways to celebrate. Aside from what you already heard me say, I am raising $3,650 as part of my birthday month celebration. I'm raising $3,650 for Back on My Feet nonprofit, which is based in Philly. And they work with the unhoused community and teach them how to run, which is great because you've got running and working with the unhoused community and merging those two things together. The link, Hero Charity Run, is right there. And we are 8% funded so far. So we're in momentum. I'm excited about that. That anniversary, I don't know what to call it. I don't know what to call it really. But let's just call it this birthday challenge. And secondarily, I didn't mention this in the running report, I've challenged myself to raise the floor for the first year of the Sekou Hero Charity Run. My minimum was 1 mile, and I upped it to 2 miles for the month of June. So I've been running a minimum of 2 miles now for 10 days. Yeah, so I doubled the minimum, just saying. Okay, let me not do too many tangents today because I do want to get to Amazon. So, moving on. Happy anniversary. Moving on. Okay, so today is day 375, as you just heard me say, and other Hero Ministry Movement news. Shout out to Lindsay, who sent me something about positive explanatory style. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, Lindsay, but I appreciate the fact that you guys are listening and responding to what I'm saying. And I want to just double down on the fact that I'm not making up any of this stuff. None of this is stuff that Sekou's created. I may remix how I talk about them, but these are things that exist in the world. Positive explanatory style is a real thing. You can look it up. You can start by looking up explanatory style and then look up positive explanatory style and apply that in your life. Okay, moving on. Thanks, Lindsay. Appreciate it. So yesterday was my second day teaching at Fisk. The program is called Mini College, and I'm teaching kids from 5 to 12 years old. That is quite an adventure. So that's the story I want to tell today. Really quick story, and then we're going to get straight into Amazon. Ooh, let me do the dice roll challenge really quickly before we forget. All right, last dice roll challenge of the week. 4. The number is 4. The number is, for Friday, I'm just making a note. For Friday is 4. All right, so Monday, I will announce what it is for the week. So in case you missed doing it daily, on Monday, I'll say what it was for this week so that you can just move that money over if you didn't do it daily. All right, but today's number is 4. Take $4 out of circulation and put it into a place where you can invest that money. Okay, so moving on, going back to my story. So I'm trying to find the right word. I've been challenged to figure out what will work with these children because not only are they a wide range of ages, but the classes are inconsistent. So, for example, I had 3 classes on Tuesday, and I thought I would see all of those students again on Thursday, which is why I gave them homework. But then on Thursday, I had a whole new class that I'd never seen before. So I'm still trying to find the rhythm, the balance. That said, I want to tell a quick story. I kind of lucked up on this. I might have mentioned this before, but I was really surprised and pleased when the space that I'm teaching in, which is the theater at this, it's called the Little Theater. When I showed up to the Little Theater to find that there were still flyers up for my play, which is called Brown Boy Mad. You can Google it. Brown Boy Mad is one word, will help the results pull up faster. Anyway, I was just very pleased by that, right? And some of the kids got into it. They were interested in the fact that I was a playwright, that I've written a play. They didn't know the word playwright, but the fact that I created a play. And so I asked them yesterday to find one of the flyers because they were all over the place in the Little Theater. And so this became a scavenger hunt. And it was a big hit. The scavenger hunt was a big hit inadvertently so. But it was really interesting, their process, and there's a lesson here for us. So when I announced the scavenger hunt in all three classes, everybody started moving as soon as they realized that there was a scavenger hunt. As soon as I started talking about it, they started looking around. As soon as I even mentioned that there was a scavenger hunt, they started looking, right? And then they started moving, right? Before I even finished what this was about, what they're looking for, they started moving. And there was one young lady in particular who seems to be one of the youngest of all three classes who kept checking in. She was like, am I hot or am I cold? And then she moved a little bit further. Am I hot or am I cold? How about now? Right? And because she did that, of course, she was the person who found it. Everyone else was just running around looking, without really gathering any information. And then another student asked, eventually, not in the beginning, eventually asked, well, how big is it? So that would have been a good question to ask in the beginning. So my point for us is, when we set a new goal, don't just start moving. Don't just rush to the goal, or if someone else sets a goal for you, don't just rush into it. Ask some qualifying questions that make the process simpler. Like as easy as, am I hot or am I cold, right? Like checking in for feedback. How'd I do on this? How was this assignment? Is this what you're looking for? Can I make some tweaks to make this better? Like check in often. There's a woman that I'm working with as part of the Idaho group, Kahila, who made a comment recently about not wanting to ask too many questions. And I might have told this story already, but I told her to ask as many questions as possible because I was once offered a job only on the strength of the fact that I kept asking questions. And I didn't understand that at the time. I was like, what do you mean you're offering me a job because I ask questions? Doesn't everybody ask questions? And she was like, no, people do not ask questions. So the same principle is at play here. Like those kids, as soon as they got the assignment, quote unquote, to find something, they rushed off to find it without asking qualifying questions. And of course, the person who asked the qualifying questions was the person who found it. So I'm inviting all of us to remember that, to don't just jump into movement, but to ask qualifying questions, because that will get you to your goal faster. Okay, moving on so that I can get to the Amazon stuff. Reminder, there was homework for you guys yesterday. The homework was the nose test. You're supposed to be touching your nose every time you use the word should. Every time you're shoulding on someone else, you touch your nose. This is just to become aware of how often you think about what someone else should be doing. Do your homework. Should. Keep it going. Should. Touch your nose. Physically touch your nose. No one else knows what you're doing. Touch your nose. This is to make you aware of how often you're thinking about someone else. How often you're not in your own lane. You're worried about someone else being in their lane. Should nose test. I made it up, but it's functional. Okay? All right. I think that's it. I mean, I've got other stories, because I like to tell stories on Friday, on Free Flow Friday. So I've got another one, but let's get to the Amazon stuff, and then if I have time, I'll come back to it. Okay, so abundance. Let's do our affirmation and get into this abundance. So where is affirmation? Oh, here we go. All right. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. Ashe and amen. All right, just checking the comments before we go into the abundance. Shout out to Tim. I appreciate you. Shout out for the anniversary. Shout out. I appreciate that. Okay, so Amazon. Someone asked me to explain this more succinctly. So this is what I'm saying. We are encouraged, I'm going to use that word. We are encouraged to stay away from the stock market for several reasons. One, people say it's dangerous, right? The other thing people say is that it's unpredictable. Well, what I'm discovering, and I hope you're discovering this with me, is that it's not that unpredictable. It's unpredictable if you think about it in terms of math, right? Math. But it's not unpredictable when you think about it in terms of people. There are people moving those charts up and down. And when you think about groupthink, about group dynamics, about herd mentality, then all of a sudden the charts become much more predictable. So, case in point, Amazon stock split 20-1 on Monday. What does that mean? That means that a approximately $3,000 share of Amazon split into 20 pieces, each piece being worth about $122, give or take. Let's call it 125. Right? So last month, even 2 weeks ago, if you bought a share of Amazon, you were spending about $3,000 for one share. Then on Monday, if you already had one share, your one share was split into 20 shares. Now you got 20 shares of Amazon, which is great because as we talked about, we talked about this in terms of dividends, like you get paid more dividends when you have more shares. But Amazon is not a dividend paying company. It's a growth company. It's a growth stock, so it's not paying dividends. But still, you'll get capital gains on 20 different shares as opposed to one share. So that's a good get, right? Back to how people think, group think, herd mentality, how people react. Because the stock split, it created excitement. Excitement is just a human emotion, right? And that excitement created a bump on the chart. The chart for Amazon shot up because people were excited about the stock split. Ooh, so if you think about it in terms of people going, it's easy to understand the stock ticker going straight up. Everyone was excited about it, right? So if you, as I said, if you already had a share of Amazon, your share was split into 20 shares. If you didn't have any Amazon, on Monday when they announced that stock split, you were trying to get some. Everybody was trying to get some because you can get a share of Amazon for much less than $3,000. You spend only $125 and get a share of Amazon. And even if $125 for a share of stock seems like a lot, it doesn't seem like a lot when you are thinking about the fact that it used to be $3,000, right? So people who weren't even buying stock were buying stock in Amazon on Monday and the subsequent days. So my point here, I've already said it, but I want to say it again, is that the stock market moves as if it's alive because it's correlating to people's group mentality, which makes it much more predictable. You're just predicting how the group is thinking. Okay? So that said, what I did, and here's what I did and here's what I learned. What I did is I put about $300 into Amazon before the split. I knew the split was coming. I wasn't sure exactly when, so I bought fractional shares of Amazon at about $300 worth. I bought about $300 worth of fractional shares on Cash App because Cash App is one of the brokerage houses that offers fractional shares. And so my intention was to automatically end up with 2 shares whenever they split. I was guessing that it would be about $150 per share. Okay. By the time it split, the Amazon stock was down because tech stocks have been down recently. So my $300 stake in Amazon had gone down, and I hadn't noticed because I don't check often because I'm thinking about all these stocks as long-term buy and hold. So it had drifted down a little bit. So at the time that Amazon split, my $300 was worth about, let's say, $250, right? The value of my $300 had drifted down to about $250. So that when the stock split happened, instead of getting 2 shares, I got 1.7 shares automatically because my money was already on the table. They split the stock. They gave me 1.7 shares. Now, I panicked. There was no need to panic, but I panicked because in my mind, I had been thinking 2 shares, 2 shares, 2 shares, 2 shares. So when I saw 1.7, I was like, oh, I got to get my 0.3 to round it up to 2. So I rushed to buy 0.3 to round up to exactly 2 shares, right? But what I realized in the process is this. I bought in to Amazon when I put my $300 up at a certain price. We don't even need to get into what the specific price was, but at a certain price. And then when it split on Monday, it shot up from there. So on Monday, when I realized I didn't have a full 2 shares, I bought again, but I bought up here at this price, right? So now I'm buying at a much higher price than I paid previously. So if I had thought about it, I wouldn't have done that. I'd been like, okay, I didn't get 2 shares, I got 1.7, but let me ride the momentum because I bought in at a good price. And now the stock is up, right? By buying at that high price, I pulled my cost basis down a bit. I didn't buy a whole lot. I was only buying 0.3%, right? But still, I pulled my cost basis down. So I hope that makes sense thus far. Basically, I'm just talking about when you buy in and the emotional movements of the market. So if I had to do it over again, I would have just let the 1.7 ride and taken advantage of the fact that my ROI, my return on investment, was very high. So what I could have done, for example, is instead of rushing to buy 0.3 to round up to 2 shares, I could have just sold the 0.7 because it was worth so much more than what I bought it for on Monday. Could have just sold the 0.7 and used that money to buy some other positions, or even buy back into Amazon. Use the Amazon money to buy back into Amazon, right? So this is probably one of the simplest examples of trading, because when we think about trading, at least for me, we think about what we see in the movies, like somebody sitting at their desk all day poring over charts and trying to figure out exactly when and where to move. Yeah, there's levels to this though. What I just described would have been a trade. I could have traded my 0.7 back in for that higher amount and then used the money to buy right back into Amazon, or use the money to buy shares of some other positions, right? So that said, now that I know all that, I'm applying it immediately because I already know that Google is going to split. Google is going to split too. And their shares are very expensive. Their shares are about $3,000 per share too. So within, I'd say, the next month or so, they're going to do a split as well. And they're probably going to do 1 share to 20 shares, just like Amazon did. So based on my recent experience, here's my plan. This is what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get $350 this time on Google. Why 350? Because I am calculating for the fact that there might be some value fluctuations. And I don't want to end up with 1.7 shares again. I want to end up with a solid 2. So I'm going to overestimate just a little bit by putting $350 in on Google. That's my alarm. So when the stock split happens, I expect to get at least 2 shares. No matter what price I buy it at now, when the stock split happens, there'll be excitement. Woo! People get excited. Woo! And because people get excited, woo, what's going to happen? It's going to shoot up. Guaranteed. This is not a question mark. This is an exclamation point. It will happen. When the stock splits, people will get excited. Because they get excited, the market will shoot up. That's just how it works. That's what happens. Look, you don't have to take my word for it. Just Google it. You can just look at Amazon. That's the most easy, the most recent example. But you can look at other examples when there's been a stock split too. People get excited. They buy in. That drives the market up. So I put my $350 up soonish, right? And then when the stock split happens, it will shoot up. And my intention is to sell one of the 2 shares. I'll automatically get 2 shares. One, I'll keep on holding for buy and hold long term. But the other one, I'll sell. And I'll take that money and buy right back into the market. I'm not going to take it out of the market. I'm not going to put it in my checkings or savings account. I'm going to just flip that money right back into the market. Probably right back into Google, but we'll see. The point is, if you got 2 shares and you know that this event is coming up that will drive up your ROI, then you can plan accordingly. You can put your money in now, wait for the stock split, and then sell one of the shares. That's trading. Like, that's not the way we think about trading, but that's trading. And you can make, so let's just use some random numbers. Let's say you spend, $50 per share. So you spend, you got $100 that you spend, and they shoot up double digits. All right. So I don't want to do the numbers because that'll make it confusing for me too. But you get the point though, right? Like, if you buy it now and then it shoots up because of the stock split, you can sell it at this higher level. You can sell 1 share at that higher level, and you would have made the difference in money. That difference, you would have made that with an easy trade because the information is already on the table. We know that people drive the market, and people as a group are predictable. People are very unpredictable as individuals, but as a group, we're pretty predictable. We get excited about the same things generally. We get scared about the same things generally. So when you're thinking about group dynamics, it's pretty easy to predict where the market is going to go. You know that when there's a stock split, people are going to get excited. So you can plan ahead accordingly. So you can buy fractional shares now, wait for it to split. You'll get a full share. You can sell a full share and make some money. That's it. That's what I want to do. That's what I learned through this Amazon experience, and that's what I plan to do for the Google experience. So I hope all of that helped it make more sense. I hope so. But if you don't remember anything else from what I said today, remember this, that trading has a number of different levels, so you don't have to be afraid of it. And number 2, the stock market moves according to herd mentality. And herd mentality, as you know from your life, is fairly predictable. All right, that's it. Okay, so I don't have time really to circle back to the story I wanted to tell, so I'll save it for later. I'll end early for a change instead of trying to cram in another story. So it's time for prayer time coming up at 10:15. Then after that, it's time for Sit with Rev Melissa. She recorded a last-minute episode this morning, so she'll be pre-recorded, but she'll be pre-recorded from today. So shout out to her for her dedication to record something at the last minute. All right. I hope that made sense. Drop some comments in the chat and let me know. And I will see you Monday. Over the weekend, keep touching your nose. Every time you should on someone, keep touching your nose just to become aware of how often you do it. Anyway, keep doing. Be a hero, but most important, be your own hero and your own financial hero. And remember that now is better than perfect in all things, but especially in terms of investing. So go invest today. All right, see you Monday. Have a great weekend.